wasting your planet.
Hi, I'm a worried Japanese dad living in East London. Even though the climate crisis is getting worse and then pushing humanity closer to the edge, it's kind of wild how most of us still treat it like it's happening somewhere else. Our hope may be limited, but on this channel, I'm sharing what I've learned from books and other sources, hoping it helps anyone who comes across this video wake up. People often say fossil fuels cause global warming. More precisely, it's the carbon dioxide that is released when we burn oil, gas and coal that heats up the planet. And honestly, for a lot of people, that's where their understanding stops. The thing is, if we just jump directly from that to we need renewable energy, people will probably think like, well, that sounds like a job for the professionals, not me. So I think the really important part we need to understand if we actually want to take action ourselves is the story that happens in between. Now think about all the stuff we use every day: cars, electronics, home goods, even little things like a biro, a pair of glasses. Most of the plastic in those items comes from burning crude oil. So our demand for fossil fuels is basically linked straight to the profits of the companies making this stuff. And that's what keeps the global economy growing. And that's why governments all over the world keep giving oil companies a safety net, like subsidies, tax breaks, and so on. So why do oil companies keep pumping out fossil fuels? Simple. It's all about keeping their shareholders happy, just like any other business like cars, clothes, money talks. If a company's stock falls, shareholders will simply sell and look for somewhere else to invest. So companies have to keep them happy by showcasing next year's fancy clothes, cool cars, basically saying like, don't worry, this is going to sell like crazy. It's the same as oil companies. Oil is a raw material, so to keep shareholders satisfied, they have to show they've got enough oil lined up so that they will make enormous profits next year, like they did this year. And while not every shareholder is ultra rich, a huge share of the power rests with the super wealthy ones, which basically means the rest of us are the ones getting played. Honestly, most of what I'm saying comes from Naomi Klein's book, This Changed Everything, which came out about 10 years ago. She points out that just to keep shareholders happy, the greenhouse gas emissions from fossil fuels already secured for future extraction would be nearly 5 times the limit set for 2050 net zero target. So what do you think? Doesn't that sound really scary? And this book was published 10 years ago already. Recycling helps, but since over 75% of global greenhouse gas emissions come from burning fossil fuels, if we don't cut that, there's no future for humanity. So if we really want to slow down global warming, which is deadly urgent, I think the first step is to realize we are constantly being manipulated into buying stuff. And to see how, let's start with our everyday life. Think about the things we casually buy and then quickly throw away. Fast fashion clothing, cheap polyester shirts, trendy dresses, sandals, etc. They fall apart quickly. Next, plastic containers and packaging. Plastic bottles and bags, disposable cups, straws, takeaway food containers, etc. All thrown away after just one use. Cheap appliances and then electronics, toasters, earphones, mini fans, etc. They're hard to repair, so we simply dump them. Cheap home goods, storage boxes, light-emitting diode lights, decorative items, etc. They're used for a short while and then tossed. And finally, toys. Freebies from fast food chains or cheap goods from pound shops. Kids lose interest quickly and they break easily. We buy these things And because there is demand, companies keep making and selling them. And to make them, they need fossil fuels, which means oil companies profit big and pass those profits on to shareholders. So when we look at it this way, it feels like, well, we need these products. There's demand. So of course oil companies drill. And that's just how it is. And that's exactly how we get tricked. But here's the thing, it actually works the other way around. It's not that oil companies are just reacting to demand. They first secure massive reserves to keep shareholders happy, and then to make all that oil pay off, demand gets created for more and more stuff. And since oil companies and business owners are tightly linked, the system pushes mass production, churning out as many products as possible, and then using advertisement trends to hype us into buying. In the end, it's not really us driving the system. It's the pressure to deliver profits to a handful of super wealthy shareholders. And we are the ones being played. And as you can see, this whole system is driving global warming and deepening social inequality. And once mobile phones came along, shopping got ridiculously easy. You see something online, click buy, and a few months later you're like, why do I even have this? Do I actually like it? I'm sure many of us have a few things like that lying around at home. Or maybe you buy something just because your kid's birthday party is coming up. Then it ends up in a charity shop. You feel good about donating it. But here's the truth. A lot of those clothes don't get reused. They end up in Africa piling up as mountains of waste. On top of that, the products are literally designed to break fast, so we keep buying it again and again. You've seen the heaps of broken furniture or old appliances dumped outside, but it's become so normal we barely even notice anymore. But every single product we buy makes oil companies richer, their shareholders greedier, and the big corporations stronger. This whole system was built by them, so every time we fall for it, we make them stronger. In the end, we are the ones choking ourselves and our planet. So don't forget, oil companies grab huge reserves first to satisfy shareholders. Then corporations churn out stuff we don't really need and push it on us with an endless adverts. That's why before buying, it's worth asking, do I really need this? Or will I ever use it? That's the real meaning of consume less, because small choices add up, and that's where real change begins. Anyway, this is it. Remember, we don't have much time left.